How's everybody doing tonight? Fun. Cool. We're gonna do cool stuff found if that's our thing. So I kind of organized these things into categories. So I'm gonna start with things that we would use at our desks, and then we will and then we'll move on to things that we would use maybe on the road, and I've got some smart home things as well. The first thing that I want to share is not something that I have here to show you, but I will share my screen if Zoom will let me. And I will provide links for all of these things when we're done here. So that is good to go. I assume you can see my screen. If you haven't yet used continuity camera, it is the way to go. It's, you know, buying like an iPhone SE or something used like that for $300. It's the best $300 webcam that you could possibly get. And of course, you can use your existing iPhone for it too, but you need some way to mount it. And there are all kinds of ways to do this. In fact, I'm using a continuity camera in front of me here, but I like this one because it allows you to mount it without putting it on your screen. You could mount this behind your screen, but what's really nice about that is if you're on a laptop, you can still set your screen at whatever angle you want, and it does not affect the camera. Unlike, say, a mount like this, I don't know if you can still see my video, but you know, a mount like this works great. You can put your phone, actually your phone would go in it this way, I suppose, right? And, you know, there would be the camera and this would sit on the screen, but this now gets heavy, you know, when it's sitting on your screen. And so it starts to kind of teeter things. And that's where I really like these freestanding mounts. So, and for $16, is anybody using continuity camera tonight other than me? Any hands in the air? I should be able to see hands in the air. Feel free to unmute and chime in. I like these things to be as interactive as possible. I certainly talk enough in my day-to-day life, so I love the interaction. But that's the freestanding camera mount. I've got two cables to talk about. This one is fun because I love to know when my devices are actually charging. And for $14, and you can get it in different lengths. You can get a 4-foot one for slightly less. I think the 4-foot one is just about, $9. What's cool is it has a little meter right in the edge of the cable. And I don't know if this phone's going to focus or if the phone camera is going to focus on it, but it says 0.0 right now. And when I plug in my phone, now it's showing like 1.5. Can we get that up there? Is that gonna zoom in?
I'm afraid it's going to be blurred.
I'm afraid you're right. Oh, there it is. So it's showing 10 watts, 9.9, right? This is cool. This speaks to the nerds in us. I love things like this. So I like it when I travel because I get to see, and I, you know, you don't just get a light that says there's power. You get to see how much. And what's cool is I can look at my laptop and know how charged it is, because if I'm on, say, a 45-watt charger, if it's less than, say, 20%, it's going to charge at the full 45 watts. You may not know this, but as your laptop and your phone, as they get closer and closer to 100%, they start drawing less and less power so as not to overheat the battery. And so I can look, and if my laptop's showing that it's charging at, like, you know, 5 watts or something, it's like, oh yeah, that's close to 100%. I'm good to go. And I can grab it and go. So I like these cables. I have a bunch of these. It's this brand Soupy. I've never heard of it before, but I put them all under the Christmas tree for everybody last year, and everybody loves them. And now they try to steal mine. So thankfully they're less than $10 a piece. Where were we here? Right. Speaking of cables, there is, well, there was a terrible video done by the How Stuff Works guys by Adam Savage that compared like $160 Apple Thunderbolt 4 cable to like a $4 charging only cable on Amazon, and showed how they were engineered differently. And it's like, yeah, because they literally do two different things. Like one sends data at Thunderbolt 4 speeds, and the other doesn't send any data other than USB 2 speeds because it has to. So that article led me to dig and see what is the difference between, what is the functional difference. I don't have a CAT scan machine here to look at the insides of the cable, but I do have lots of devices with which I can test capabilities of cables. And what I found out was that a USB 4 cable has just the same functionality as a Thunderbolt 4 cable, meaning I can plug in my Thunderbolt devices with a USB 4 cable and it works fine. Now, are there potentially some engineering differences? Yes. The engineering differences would be related to the tolerances available in the manufacturing process, because the way Thunderbolt gets certified versus the way USB 4 either does or does not get certified. And if it's not certified, you can get it even less expensively. But a USB 4 cable can be made to be 2 meters in length or more. Thunderbolt 4 cables, that starts to get to be really dicey. And what's amazing is that you can go on Amazon for, I'm used to hitting my little buttons to turn on screen sharing, and it doesn't work that way in Zoom. For $10, you can buy a USB 4 cable capable of transmitting 40 gigabits per second. This is both Thunderbolt 3 and 4 capable, supports 240 watts of power, and that'll drive a, UHD, a 4K display, and all of that great stuff for $10, as opposed to, say, $100, or even from Otherworld Computing, maybe, $70 or whatever it is. I have one of these cables. It works great. I travel with it. I rely on it. I've sent data. I sent data across it using Blackmagic speed test to a USB based SSD, or a Thunderbolt based SSD. And, over the course of 30 minutes, there were no issues and it didn't slow down or anything like that. So for stuff at home, this can save you a bunch of money on your cables. And again, feel free to ask questions or chime in if you think I'm crazy for using a cable like this, because I don't purport to know everything. I just try stuff.
Yeah. Does it give you as much boost if you are not using a USB 4 machine?
Yeah. So it's just, it will use whatever you are using. So Thunderbolt 4 is a marketing term. It's not actually a technology. What it means is it's Thunderbolt 3 with all of the features enabled, which is what Macs have always done. Windows machines and Linux machines didn't always turn on all of the features of Thunderbolt 3, and the Thunderbolt Consortium found that very frustrating from a marketing standpoint, because there would be people that had Thunderbolt 3 devices that could do certain things that other people couldn't. And so Thunderbolt 4 is Thunderbolt 3 with everything turned on, plus a feature of Thunderbolt 3 that wasn't always turned on by Apple, and that is Thunderbolt hubbing, which is the capability of plugging multiple Thunderbolt devices into like a Thunderbolt dock. So it used to be that you could only do pass-through of a Thunderbolt device from a dock. Well, with Thunderbolt hubbing, you can have up to 4 extra ports, and OWC and CalDigit and companies like that have Thunderbolt hubs. So yes, this USB 4 cable will work at USB 2 speeds, at USB 3 speeds, all of them, and at USB 4 speeds as well, up to 40 gigabits per second. There are USB, and you can find USB 4 cables that will go faster than this. because USB 4 can go faster than 40 gigabits. I think it'll go to 80 and I believe even 120. There's USB 4 120. So
I believe
and
it peaks out at 80.
What's that?
I believe it peaks out at 80.
Is it 80? I thought there was a 120 out there. But I could be wrong. Let's see. USB. Yeah, there it is. USB-C can hit 120. Yep.
USB 4 version 2, which is not implemented yet.
There you go. Yep.
Well, that's 22. The date
But
on
yeah,
that.
it was not. Yeah. Is that still not implemented? It might not be.
It is not.
Okay. There you go. But you can save yourself some money on cables. And you can then take that money that you saved on cables and plug this cable into your new 4K portable KYY 15.6-inch monitor for $179. I know it says 209 here, but there's a $30 coupon that Amazon almost always has. You can see I've purchased this monitor 2 times. I don't seem to be able to keep them because family members and such see them and they take them with them. And I'm a generous person, it turns out, or so they tell me in the moment that they're taking it. This screen, if you are traveling, if you need another monitor, I love, I've been using 2 monitors at my desk for years. I know a lot of people got used to using multiple monitors during COVID lockdowns, and then they started traveling again with their laptops. I'm like, wait, I don't have my extra screen. This thing's great. It folds completely flat and it weighs very little. I can throw it in a suitcase or a carry-on and bring it with me. And then in my hotel room, I've got the extra screen and my life sort of feels somewhat complete. And highly recommend going with the 4K one. It makes a huge difference. And with $179, this KYY is fantastic. My lone complaint about it is you'll see here. Oh, come on. The way this is there's like a flap that protects the screen, and it right in this picture, it's flipped over. So it's sitting underneath it and it becomes sort of the stand for the screen, which is great. But it does mean that you can't put something right in front of the screen at the edge of your desk because you've got this weird little flap sitting there. Of course, you could take the flap off and mount it some other way if you chose to do that. I know Allison Sheridan has gone through all sorts of mounts to find the perfect way to mount this screen. The perfect way to mount a screen is to spend a lot more money and get the ViewSonic 4K OLED screen for $500 short dollars. This thing's amazing. And this is now the one that I travel with, and I'm not letting anybody take it from me, at least not yet. This thing's gorgeous, and it does look better than the other one. Although really that KYY one, if you're going to spend your money on it, dollars for donuts, that KYY one is much it's the right thing. What's cool about this is there is nothing that sticks out from the front of it because I don't know that we get to see. Maybe we get to spin it. Okay, so this piece here actually folds out and becomes a kickstand for it. What's really nice is that you can see the ports on it, and it connects with USB-C or mini HDMI. The ports on it are on this little kickstand, which is recessed in from the edges. So you don't have a cable sticking out the side of the monitor when you're looking at it. The cable is sticking out the side of the kickstand, but that's all hidden nicely behind the monitor. So ViewSonic really has solved everything with this, but you're going to pay for it. So that's my on the road stuff. And I've got links for all of these things. I will send you all of them. I promise. So there you go. That's on the road. Let's see. That brings us to our on the road thing. I guess I jumped because we were talking about cables, and I got there. I have one more thing for at your desk, and that is the Skylight Frame. I love having pictures in our kitchen, and we have one of these mounted on the wall. and now they have a calendar and all this stuff, but we just have like the little picture frame sitting on the wall, and it's awesome. It just sits there and it connects to Wi-Fi, and you can send pictures to it. It's really easy. My favorite part about it, I've tried the ones from like Netgear has a brand that they do, and others, and all of them want you to like sign up for an account just to submit pictures to it. And this one, it gives you a bespoke email address that you can sort of customize on your own. It's like your address at ourskylightframe.com, and anybody that you give the address to can send pictures to it. You can limit that, of course, if your address happens to get out to the wrong people, and you don't have to have random weird pictures showing up in your kitchen. But it's awesome. We each have one of these. Our kids have them in their homes. My daughter lives in Italy now. My son's on the other side of the state. And we just get to send pictures to each other's frames, and they just appear, and it's wonderful. And they're fairly inexpensive. Where's the thing? I guess we have to buy now. $139 for the 10-inch frame, $299 for the 15-inch. And evidently they're doing a sale. If you buy one, you get another one for $100. So we love these things. And it's such a nice thing to just have in the kitchen. And you can set it to do all kinds of different things. It can even show videos if people send videos. But we've just got it in slideshow mode, and every 10 or 15 seconds, it just changes to the next picture and kind of rotates through, and it'll alert you when there's new ones and all of that good stuff. So, all right. That finishes my at your desk stuff. I know we already started with the on the road stuff. I am not usually a laptop sleeve type of person. I've never quite understood the need for them. I'm either putting my laptop in my backpack or not, but that's because I'm a backpack person. I know, like, my daughter likes to use just her bag to bring everything around, and she loves to have a laptop sleeve. Well, this one's pretty cool. I know it's not inexpensive, but for $120, it's got wireless charging in it. And if you can see my screen, this is that sleeve, and you can open it up, and you put your laptop in there, and it fits and all of that good stuff. But what's cool is when it opens up, this now becomes your desk mat, and your laptop sits on here. And this side has a little USB-C power thing, and it's got a puck for your phone and another puck for your AirPods or what have you. And, you got a little charging mat right next to your laptop there. You're good to go. And it's got a little magnet in the top, so that when you fold the flap closed, it stays closed. You can see that. Let's see, how good's the magnet? Magnet's pretty good. Look at that. The Eclipse didn't ruin the way the magnets worked. Good news. So that's the NEXA 4-in-1. When I use my phone, I have become a pop socket person. I love the pop socket on the back of my phone. This is actually a custom one that I had made that has my logo for one of my podcasts. I have the thing I like about pop sockets is, and I didn't even think I was going to talk about pop sockets, so I didn't bring my other one up. But they're MagSafe now. You can take it off, and the MagSafe is strong enough to hold it. But what's really nice is I also have a pop socket wallet, and my pop socket wallet has a Mac Geek Gab logo on it, of course. And so then I just switch. If I know I'm going to need a wallet, I put my pop socket wallet on, and then it's the wallet plus the little pop socket, so I can still hold my phone, even though it's got a little thicker wallet on there. If you're not a pop socket type of person, my wife has come to really like these CellHelmets. And it's this squishy little thing. It is MagSafe, and it too pops on the back of your phone, and you can hold your phone with it, and all of the various things that you would do with your phone on a little holder. What's nice about this is there's no popping, there's no removing. It just sits there, and when you put it in your pocket, it squishes down. It's just a little squishy piece of rubber. And my wife's had this on her phone for the last 6 months, loves it. Barely, it takes it off to put it on charge at night because she charges with MagSafe at night. So that's the CellHelmet. But all of these things add some thickness to your phone. The pop socket's not terrible, but it's a little bit. If you want a holder for your phone that is super thin, and I'm talking the size, like the thickness of a nickel, the folks at Snap are your friends. They make the Snap 4 Luxe, and it pops off the back of your phone like this. But when it is flat, it is flat. Like it comes up just as high as if you're putting it on the back of your naked phone without a case. It comes up, I think it's lower than the little camera bumps. And it sits super, super flat. Yeah, you can see it there. Obviously it would work on, it's got what I don't like about the Snap 4 Luxe is it is MagSafe, but it also has a slight adhesive to it. You can take it off and put it back on, but they do recommend you use it with the adhesive and not just the straight MagSafe. But I like the, I had one of these on my phone for a long time before I moved to pop sockets. What's cool about this is you can charge through it. It is so thin that MagSafe charging works through this. So you can just put it on a charger and you never have to take it off. So yeah, and they show MagSafe charges through it. So thinner than your bumps. Yeah, there it is. That's a good little angle. So, and that's the Snap 4 Luxe. It's $40. So not cheap, but worth it if that's important to you. All right. I have this thing to show you, but there's a better version of it that I will teach you about. So this is the charging pad that I want to bring with me. I'll show you the one that I do bring with me because it's got a cool little feature to it. But the reason that I like this one is it's got 2 AC outlets. It's got, where are they here? At the end, it's got 2 USB-C and 2 USB-A. And then it has meters on it that show you how much each port is pulling. So you don't even have to use the soupy cable. You can just use this thing. And here's the coolest part. Well, I think the meters might be the coolest part about it. But so this is the version without meters. This is what I travel with currently. It's pretty thin. It's, about the size of an iPhone, right? And, you got your 4 ports on the bottom there, which is great. You've got these 2 AC outlets, but you might notice that it's as thin as an iPhone. And it feels like plugging something into that might be dangerous because, you'd have like exposed leads. And that gets, when you're in a hotel room that dark at night, you might wind up grabbing those. I suppose it would light things up for you, but maybe not in the way that you wanted. So they've thought about this. This is actually the plug from this, but we'll use it because watch what happens when you plug it in. It lifts out. The little plug pushes up out of the device and it pops right in and pops right out. So you can see it. Here we go. Where am I here? Yep. It lifts out as you plug in and protects the edges. Pretty cool little thing. Gives you everything you need. And then there's the version. I think this one's like $69. That one's $89 because there's a $20 coupon. But on that one, you get meters. We love the meters. We like to ban the meters too, but on this, it's the meters. So, all right. Yeah. Where are we here? We got through all of that. Oh, one more MagSafe thing that I just can't. I love nerdy stuff. And I do like my MagSafe wallet. Pelican has started making MagSafe wallets, and they build theirs because they're Pelican, and Pelican is known for making like really protective cases and things like that. They build their MagSafe wallet with an RFID shield in it. So when it's closed, ain't nothing reading out of that. So it's a little thicker and chunkier than your average MagSafe wallet because it's from Pelican. It's how they work. But gives you a couple of compartments and Is anybody here using a like a MagSafe wallet on the back of their phone, or a wallet as part of the phone case? No. Does anybody? Do you carry cards with you, or do you just use Apple Pay everywhere you go? Apple Pay. I see everybody mouthing Apple Pay. You can unmute. It's totally fine. I get sick of hearing my own voice. Much contrary to popular belief. It's true, I do. If you keep a MagSafe wallet, I have found it very handy. I fold up a 20, like they do here in that picture. I fold up a $20 bill and I stick it in there so that I have cash nearby, and it occasionally proves valuable, although less and less these days. All right, how are we doing? Are we pacing things well? Any questions about? Yeah, okay. All right. Any questions about the stuff that we've talked about here so far? Okay. We'll get expensive, and then we'll get less expensive.
I do have a question.
Great. Amazing.
About the picture frame.
Yeah.
That you're talking about, that you could send photos to.
Yep.
What happens to the photos? Do they go to your computer? Do you get to keep them? What happens?
So you would email. There's a couple of ways of getting pictures on there. You can use their app if you want, but you can also just email photos from whatever, from your phone, your computer, to the email address, and then they sit on the frame. The photos do. If I were to send photos to your frame, there is no easy way of extracting the photo that I sent from the frame. However, if I launch the Skylight app and I look at my frame, I can see pictures on here. Can I download these? Yes. So you can use the app to download pictures that are sitting on the frame. Yes. Yeah, so that's a great question.
Photo storage.
I mean, sort of. Their cloud doesn't store all of the photos. So if you see one appear on the frame, you would want to go grab it before it kind of expires from their cloud. Their cloud just keeps like the recent stuff. And then I'm looking here. I can see about 25 or 30 photos, and I know I've got, hundreds that are on the frame. So, and it is. Go ahead.
Do you know what the capacity of that thing is? How many photos?
I don't. Let's see, 8,000 photos. It's got 8 gigs of storage, and it dumbs them down to be no larger than they need to be full resolution on that frame screen. So, yeah, we have not filled it up yet. So, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, of course.
Never take the same picture twice.
I have a protective case, and on the back, it has a room for credit cards.
Yeah. Love that.
And the company is Smartish, Smartish. It says it'll hold 3 credit cards, but I only use one because I don't want to stretch out the holder so that they fall out. But the case looks like it works.
Yeah.
And the credit card goes in and snaps into the back, and very happy with it.
That's awesome. Is that the Wallet Slayer? Is that what that is?
Wallet Slayer 2.
Wallet Slayer Volume 2. Got it. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Let's see.
The perennial question we always have with these credit card holders is, doesn't the MagSafe interfere or wreak havoc with the magnetic stripes on the cards?
Sure does. Yeah, it often does. Not always, but it often does. But yeah, I have an American Express card that the chip works fine on it. The mag stripe does not. And I was somewhere recently that had like old machines. Most machines, people are using the chips anyway, so it doesn't matter. But yes, it sure does.
The only downside is they say that the protective case is so thick you can't do wireless charging.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Doing wireless charging through credit cards isn't going to work. Yeah. There's too much insulation. That's right. Yeah. 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 There is an argument against doing wireless charging on a regular basis. The heat argument. I'm curious if anybody here has any thoughts on that, but the argument is when you do wireless charging, a good bit of the power that the charger is putting out is lost or converted to heat. Whether it's lost or not is a matter of sort of perspective. It's not lost. It's just converted to heat instead of power in your battery. But that heat is very close to your battery. And so in addition to the battery heating up from the act of being charged, which it would happen anyway, it's also getting, radiant heat from the MagSafe charger. And especially if you're using true MagSafe at 15 watts, you are heating your battery more than it needs to be heated on a regular basis. And some folks have posited that may contribute to faster battery decline. Sure. I don't know. I think that's probably true. The question is, to what degree? Like, does it actually make a difference, or is it something that's just sort of, yes, a physical reality that doesn't impact the life of the phone? That part, I don't know.
The expectation is that I think it's only about maybe a 5% to 10% difference on that. You're going to be working through a Qi or a Qi 2 charger at 15 watts maximum on that. And you're comparing that to the heat generation of plugging in a 45 to 85 watt power supply if you're using USB.
Yep. Except that the 45 watt power supply is many, many feet away from my phone and not heating its battery up. Right. The phone is only charging at the rate that the phone is pulling charge. So it's the proximity to the heat generation that is different with MagSafe versus the a wired charger.
Right. But my expectation would be that the heat being generated in the battery by having the higher wattage would actually overshadow anything that the wireless charging itself is able to put out.
I guess that's true, because your phone, I know from my cable that my phone will charge at more than 15 watts when plugged in. It won't go 45, but I think I've seen it go, my 15 Pro will go 20 watts when it's charging, I think. So, yeah, for a little bit of it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. And the amount of heat on that thing, if you plug an iPad, for instance, in, it gets warm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I've seen an iPad go up to like 45 watts. And they may go more than that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the amount of heat that that's capable of generating, I think, is going to be much greater than anything the wireless can produce.
I would say MagSafe or Qi 2. And the reason I say that is because Qi 1 does not have a magnet in it. So you could wind up with a misalignment, and that's where you start losing a lot of heat. And if you're off center of the magnet, it starts to get, and I realize we're getting into the weeds here, but I do call myself Dave the Nerd, and I do a show called Mac Geek Gab. So, I feel like that's the baggage I bring. So
moving along.
Anyway, this is a fun conversation to have. Come to MacStock. We have conversations like this at dinner. It's wonderful. All right. I promise to spend some of your money. If you don't yet have a robot vacuum, you're going to want one. I struggle to think of a gadget that has been more life-changing than the robot vacuum. And the reason is, when we don't have a robot vacuum, when we are the robot, we vacuum our house once a week is what we say we do. It's usually once every 2.5 weeks, right before guests come over, right? That's not how robot vacuums are. They don't care. They have one job or two jobs, as the one I'm going to show you might have. And they'll happily do this job every day, multiple times a day if you want. So we have our robot vacuum set up to go once a day And depending on the floor of the house that it's on, the ones that aren't on the floors where we sleep, vacuum the house every day at 4 a.m. And the one on the floor where we sleep vacuums at 8 p.m. when we're not upstairs. We eat dinner late, so the 8 p.m. is about when we're eating dinner, so it vacuums. And it's wonderful because I go to bed every night with a freshly vacuumed floor in my bedroom, and I wake up every morning to a freshly vacuumed home. And it is quite wonderful. And I like when we have had problems with the robot vacuums or testing one and we got to send back and we're waiting for another one or whatever, that's when I really notice how great these things are, because I remember what my house used to look like before I had it vacuumed every day. And that's why I say it really is one of these gadgets that has made the biggest difference. But some of our floors don't need to be vacuumed. They just vacuumed. They need to be vacuumed and then mopped. And what I love about the Roborock QRevo is how it does both. It can do both in the same pass if you want, but it will vacuum, it will mop. And what's great about it is that it has a storage area that holds both the water for the mopping and the dirty water. And then also it empties the vacuum too. I set this thing up 6 weeks ago, maybe. I was, there's two days with a gadget that I love. There's the first day that you get a gadget, right? And you're all excited about it and you mess with the technology and that's awesome. And you're excited that it actually works and you like all of that stuff. And then the second day, and I might love this day even more, is the day that I realize I have forgotten that I have this gadget because it's just doing its job. And that was Thursday when I realized, hey, I haven't looked at this thing in a while. Let me go check. And it had maybe 10% of the water in the clean water tank left for the mopping. And of course, as life works, the dirty water tank was about 70% full. And I, attended to both of those. I don't recommend dumping the dirty water in the clean water tank, though I'm sure you could. I dumped the dirty water out. I filled the clean water tank, and then I emptied the stuff that had pulled out of the vacuum. But this thing, like I said, it's got this multifunction dock that has there's better pictures of this. It's the mops will lift up when it's vacuuming, when it's vacuuming, so that it's not getting your carpets wet. It's got a dryer built into it. One of my favorite features about this that really is the result of iterative design is the roller for the vacuum does not capture hair. If you've ever had a robot vacuum, the roller gets covered and clogged almost with hair. This one, just because of the way they've made it, I mean, it ran for 5-6 weeks and it had some hair on the ends that I pulled off because I was messing with the thing. But in terms of its functionality, it didn't make any difference at all. It's got a LiDAR sensor in it and cameras so that it not only avoids obstacles, but it maps your home. I have a 3D map of my home from this thing. It's crazy. Yeah. Let me see if there's, so this is what the dock looks like with your clean water on the right, the dirty water on the left. It is self-drying, so your mopping pads don't start to stink, because after it docks itself, and yes, it docks itself, it heats up the pads and dries them. Like I said, it empties the vacuum into itself. It refills the water. It does all of its things. And yes, you can take the dock apart and all that good stuff. But I promised that I would spend your money. You could spend $769 on this brand new, or you can buy the refurbed one, which is what I would absolutely recommend, for $669. I know it's $709 here, but there's a $50 coupon. There are vacuums you could spend more money on. There's a whole new wave of vacuums that just came out at CES that have some improvements over it. That's fine. Those are all going to be about $1,200 to $1,400 for my money if I were buying a vacuum. And if you don't need the mopping, you can save another $150 because because you're not paying for the mopping features. But if you need the mopping, it makes a huge difference. Again, I have it mop once a week. I notice on Friday mornings when I wake up, I make my eggs and then I come over and I do Mac Geek Gab, and I am routinely impressed with how shiny my kitchen floor is because I have it mop the kitchen once a week. I have it vacuum every day, but I only have it mop once a week. So that's the Roborock QRevo, and you can get it black or white. But I think the white one is cheaper. We have the white one. I love it. It looks great. But yeah, I don't think I can easily share like the picture of the map that it does, but it's crazy like how detailed this map is. And it actually will show you on the map what pattern it took to vacuum your floor. And you can even tell it to vacuum in like a crisscross pattern if you want it to really go nuts and like get everything. It's awesome. So,
how noisy?
How noisy?
How loud? How loud?
When it's vacuuming, I don't know if they have a dB listing on here of how noisy it is. It's not terrible, but I'm rarely on the same floor as the vacuum when it's running because I have engineered its schedule with my life so that it's at best one floor away from me. Let me put it this way. When the two are vacuuming on the floors below me while I sleep, I never hear it. It doesn't wake us up. But it's, I mean, I've been in the kitchen when the thing is like doing its thing. It's, I mean, you hear it. You wouldn't want to have it vacuum your living room while you were trying to watch TV. You could still hear the TV, but it would be annoying. But you could have it vacuum your living room in 20 minutes. It's not like it takes hours to do its thing. So, and you can, in the app, you can define rooms. So you say, all right, well, this one, I want it to go and vacuum this room while I'm eating dinner in the other room. And you could certainly do that. And that would work fine. Yeah. It's good.
Dave,
Yeah.
how is it on thick carpet?
I don't have thick carpet.
That's what
People say that it does fine. This one, the only issue would be the mopping pads.
Right.
And you can take the mopping pads off. Now, if you strategically organize the schedule so that it's not vacuuming with wet pads from mopping, then it'd probably be fine because it would just be dragging these dry pads over the floor, and that's no big deal. The pads are lifted up, but if you've got thick carpet, it's gonna, the carpet's gonna touch the pads. Yeah.
Okay.
But I wouldn't worry about it but you can take them off. They're just held on by magnets, so they just pull right off. It's not a big deal. Yeah.
Okay.
Dave,
Yeah.
if you have power cords and extension cords on the floor, has it ever gotten trapped in those things?
Very rarely. The thing that in our house, it usually gets caught up on, one of our cats loves to play with pipe cleaners. And he found this stash of pipe cleaners that we didn't even know we had. And he'll go down and like select one and play with it. And sometimes the vacuum will get sort of tangled up. That's the only reason I thought to check on it on Thursday was it got tangled up in a pipe cleaner. But that was the first time in 5 or 6 weeks that it did. I mean, with the cameras and the LiDAR sensor, it's pretty good at avoiding things. But yeah, we haven't had a problem with extension cords with a robot vacuum in years. Once they moved to the LiDAR sensors, everything changed. So, yeah.
So this is CAT certified.
It is CAT certified. That's correct. Yes, it is CAT compliant.
The cats don't freak out. Do the cats freak out or no?
No, it's amazing. I sometimes I'm up at 4 a.m. when the vacuum goes because I'm a night owl, and I watch the cats and they just look at it, but it goes every day. This is very much a part of their life. Whereas for me, it's like, oh my God, what is that? What's going on? Because the vacuum, it can speak. It says, starting my vacuum run. It's like, wait, what's going on? Who's talking? The cats are totally used to it. They look at it, because I don't think it takes exactly the same path every time. And so they kind of check it out and be like, all right, it's not coming at me. I'll just keep on going. So yeah, they're totally fine with it.
How many cats do you have?
In our house now we have 2. We used to have 3. We had to put one down recently, but occasionally we have 4 in the house because my son has 2 cats and they come and visit when he comes and visits. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's cat certified.
And but they're not riding it around the house.
They're not riding it. No, they could.
So, Dave, what about when the furniture is moved? Does it?
It sees it and it goes around it. Yeah. Yeah. That again, that's the difference with, the first ones, the initial ones, it just would sense when they banged into something and try a different route, but they had no spatial awareness. My vacuum, I can look in the app and see, it shows me on the map that it has built of my house, my floor plan. It shows me right where it is, and it's always correct. Like it knows. It's pretty cool. Sure, somebody in China has a map of my house on their servers. Isn't that true of all of us though? So yeah. How bad are mosquitoes in your neck of the woods over there? Yeah. Can you
too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too bad.
But
No.
we do have it just came out that, what's it, dengue fever? There's evidently some in the South Bay.
Yeah, they
have
just found the Aedes aegypti.
Say again?
They just found the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which is a malaria, Zika, and dengue fever in Santa Clara County.
So I have become obsessed because here in New Hampshire, our humidity is such that we do get mosquitoes here. There's a company called Thermacell. They're actually from New England, and they make these mosquito repellents. They heat a chemical. The chemical is a derivative or a synthetic of chrysanthemum oil, which in one of these, which it helps repel mosquitoes. And then there's another one that's their own sort of formulation that makes mosquitoes not want to bite. And so they don't swarm around because there's nothing for them to swarm around on. You occasionally see them pass through the area that is affected by this, but they have no interest in, in doing anything. So if you're going to buy something, certainly bang for your buck, this is the best thing here. This Patio shield, obviously it's $35. There's a 15% off coupon. You have to buy these little refill cartridges, which come with the weird chemical that it heats up and does its thing with charges. It runs for about 5 hours on the charge. There's another model that uses a butane power source, a little butane fuel cell, just to heat up the things. But it works, and it works amazingly well. And as you can see, the price is great. It creates like a 20-foot dome, if you will, of mosquito protection. And that's great. If you have a lot of extra money to spend, though, you can buy from Thermacell the Live system, and you can see the price is going to run you, about $800 to start. It's awesome because you permanently install it outside and you do it yourself. You just either bury these things in the ground or just lay them. They come with little stands, and then you can use the app or the A-Lady to tell it to turn on. And we do have this on our patio. They sent me one as a review unit. It's one of those things that I don't think I would have spent $800 on it when I found out about it. But now that I have it, if it went away, I would absolutely spend $800 on it, because we get to be on our patio all summer long and there are no mosquitoes, and it's amazing. But again, if you don't have a huge mosquito problem, this thing, the little one for $35, a few of these on my patio would also do fine. Like, it would do the same job. I just can't tell the A-Lady about it, so. And then I love having my garage door HomeKit controllable. And what's cool about this Meross, you got to get the one that's built for HomeKit. But what's cool about this one is it works with your existing garage door opener. You just plug this little unit in. Believe it or not, your garage door opener has some leads, some terminals rather, that you plug some of the leads from this in, and it will open and close your garage door. You put a little sensor on your door. It knows. It took me maybe 15 minutes total to install this thing. And CarPlay knows about my garage door now. And as I'm coming home, up on the screen, as I get into the neighborhood, it pops up and it's like, do you want to open your garage door? And I'm like, yep, sure do. And then it opens my door and I don't have to wait. You know, it's terrible, right? You drive in the driveway, you hit the opener button in your car. You have to wait like 10 seconds for the door to open. Whereas with this, I get to my house and the door is already open. It's amazing. So I like it. And it's not bad, $42. So
in comparison to the current situation where if you have HomeKit installed, you have to pull up in front of your garage, fumble the phone out of your pocket, figure out where the app is that the garage door insists on using, punch that in, hope you get the security correct to get through the Face ID on that. Wait for the thing to go beep, 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 and finally open, and you've fallen asleep in the meantime.
So you have the MyQ one, don't you?
Uh-huh.
Yep. So MyQ, you used to be able to run a Homebridge plugin that would link it to HomeKit, but they closed that API. And they also used to sell the MyQ HomeKit bridge, which is a piece of hardware that links the MyQ garage door openers to HomeKit, officially supported and all of that. They simply stopped selling it. It's still supported. So if you can find one out there, your MyQ garage door openers will work. I have one. So I have 3 garage doors in our home and office here. And 2 of them are actually MyQs with that Homebridge thing, or not Homebridge, but with their HomeKit bridge. And then one is this Meross thing. The Meross thing, it's the only game in town. Well, I guess there's the Rat GTO thing, but that starts to get weird. I mean, if you're a nerd, it's fine, but yeah. But yeah, if you can find one of those MyQ HomeKit bridges, then you'll be all right. So, all right, I promised some inexpensive things. I know we're running over on time, but there's 2 or 3 little apps I want to tell everybody about. One is called In Your Face. So this is now cool stuff found for your Mac. This will take over the screen of your Mac right before, with a time configurable setting, right before a meeting starts. Because you know when your calendar warns you about a meeting and you say, oh yeah, that's in 5 minutes. And then 15 minutes later, your phone's ringing because somebody's wondering, or you get an email like, hey, where are you? How come you're not at the meeting? It's like, oh crap, I thought I could fit in that last little thing before the meeting. And then, oh, I started doing this other thing and now that other thing and then somebody else. And there you are. This darkens your screen and says, it is now time for your meeting. And yeah, so In Your Face. So I'll put a link to that out there. I'm a nerd. I like to see my CPU usage and all of that stuff in the menu bar. I used to use menu meters when that was a thing a long time ago. It's now a thing again. I used iStat menus for a long time. And then I found out about this free one called Stats, which is just like all the rest, except it's free and on GitHub. And you can configure it and do all the things, and you can see the CPU usage and network usage and memory usage and all of those fun things. And so we love that. And it's free. So we like that. 2 more. Mapper for Safari. Let me see if I can pull this open. The idea is when you click on a map link in Google Maps, it brings up Google Maps. Wouldn't it be nice if that brought up Apple Maps? And Mapper for Safari hijacks that and redirects Google Maps links to Apple Maps, both on Mac and iPhone. So I know, fun. Yep. It just, yeah, does its thing. It's a little plug-in and it sees it and goes and does it. Boom. There you go. And then lastly, I noticed in your meeting, you were listing all the updates, right? For like iOS and Mac and all that. AppleDB.dev lists all of the updates for things in a much easier to find format than Apple. And I didn't know that there was a new Bluetooth headset firmware that came out in April, but AppleDB.dev did. Now, there's nothing we can do about that. It just gets installed magically on our AirPods. There's no way to really trigger it, but you know, you got your HomePod software and all the other things. So, and then you can look by device if you want to see like, where are we on the Apple Watch? Ah, there you go. So it's a really nicely organized thing, AppleDB.dev. And I think I've taken up enough of your time.
And if you're one of those really technical engineers, they have all the technical numbers in there, build numbers, model numbers. It's a wonderful resource.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of figured you might already know about it, Charles. Any questions from anybody?
Dave, I found your presentation very useful, and I found you to be much more relaxed when you're not speaking at 1 3/4 times speed.
You know, it's really funny because I speak quickly, and like, you're definitely not the first person who I've encountered who says, "Oh yeah, I need to get used to you speaking so slowly." Yeah.
I have a question for you, Dave. Automated curtains for the home, and especially vertical ones. I've seen horizontal ones out there. Verticals. Any vendors that you've run across? No.
Nothing comes. What was the one? I forget. There was one that we kind of stumbled across for a little while, and it's not coming to mind. But when it does, I'll shoot you a note. Yeah.
That would be great. That would be great.
Yeah.
I think I heard IKEA was going to offer that because I was sort of in the market too, but I never followed up on it.
Okay. I'm suspicious
Might
of
have been
IKEA
horizontal
for HomeKit, but you know, of course, what I'd want. But yeah. Okay, that's a place to check. Okay. Thank you. So,
My pleasure. It's been a blast. I will email you the I don't think putting it in the chat would be, yeah, no, it's not happy about this. I will email you the list of links, so you can feel free to pass that around if you have a mailing list or something like that. So
we do.
Thanks. That was a lot of fun. Got a lot of great info.
Amazing. Good. I'm glad. It's always fun. I love cool stuff found. It's expensive and fun. So, you know.
Where do you find these?
Well, I stumble across some of them. Our listeners tell us about some of them. Let me see. Looking at this, how many of them did I find? Probably, you know, a lot of them, the hardware stuff, especially, I find going to shows like CES or the PepCom events or Showstoppers, those kinds of things where vendors are just showing off all their stuff. Those are super efficient ways for me to go and find out about these things. But yeah, I would say it's, probably, I don't know, 60% is things I found or people like vendors reached out to me to tell me about things. And I of course, a lot of things that they tell me about, I like don't talk about because they're crap, but you know, we curate. And so, and then the other 40%, some of them are, you know, listeners and things like that. So, yeah.
I have one for your list.
Yeah.
A crossbody iPhone case that holds 3 credit cards. Great for women. It's like a mini purse, but it's also great for hikers because when you want to grab your phone and get a snapshot of the coyote or the deer or whatever, or at Disneyland, and that way you don't have to worry about dropping it into the lake.
Yeah. Do you have a specific brand in mind?
No, every time there's a new iPhone shape, I have to get a new case. And I found the ones that zip do not work well, but if it's a snap closure, it works fine.
Okay.
Snap closure on the back for credit cards.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
They're about $15 to $20.
Got it. or more if you want to buy like
Oh,
a fancy
yes.
leather one.
You can go way up.
Yeah, of course. Designer iPhone cases. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. All right. Thank you for having me.
So if
Thank
people are
you.
going to
Enjoyed
pay
it.
attention and see more of you, tell us about your publishing empire.
Sure. Yeah. Well, if you want more things like this, plus like other nerdy tips and your questions answered, my my Mac Geek Gab podcast at MacGeekGab.com is absolutely the place to find me. And I do other shows too. I do a show for musicians called Gig Gab and a show for entrepreneurs called Business Brain. But Mac Geek Gab is the place that makes sense to for at least for this type of presentation. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah, come find me there. I'm an easy person to find.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Dave.
Cool. Thank you.
Really
What
good.
a blast.
Enjoyed
All
it.
right.